Let's talk about user experience or UX and how you can gain and retain customers using it. So user experience refers to the overall experience a user feels when they go through your product, your website, your business, or through your system. Another rephrase of what I just pointed out from Nielsen Norman Group is user experience encompasses all aspects of the end user's interaction with the company, with its services and its products. So essentially, user experience doesn't necessarily just tie down to a digital product, right? Or something digital. It could be a physical store, it could be the actual use of a product, it could be an app, so it could be a brand. So what does the user experience feel like when they're interacting with the brand itself, right? It's an interaction, it's a call and response, essentially. So what does user experience look like for an app-based company or brand? So here's just a few interaction from the App Store all the way to sign up. So, if a user searches for a particular app, they might look at the photos, they might look at images that show the different colors, what those colors mean. It could also mean, the process from a sign up to register. If it's too high friction, they might drop off. If it's really short, then it's a lot easier for someone to actually become a registered user. Finally, once they've actually installed the app, you'll be able to gamify that aspect. They've installed the app, what do we want the users to do or to feel? That could be pop-ups, that could be different colors, that could be sounds, but essentially a gamification of the app experience. What's user experience for a website-based company or brand? So you have an interaction from homepage to a contact form. It could be a visual hierarchy of your different menus or different sections within the website. It could be a pop-up or notification that shows up after a certain amount of period of time. So all those points are basic interactions, right? Interactions from the user all the way to what you want them to do. So let's talk about what an example of a good user experience is. Very briefly, if the website loads really quickly, if the buttons and menus are very intuitive, I don't have to think too much once I'm on the website, I know exactly what I need to do. And then finally, a very user-friendly onboarding. So a great example of that is Miro. If you actually register for a new account, there's an onboarding or tutorial process that happens, which very much teaches you the top line aspects of how to use the app. So for me, that's an amazing thing, right? That's a good user experience. The styles. What does bad user experience look like? Confusing or overwhelming navigation, right? So if you're using the app, for example, there's too many things to click, there's too much text, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not quite sure what I need to do, and you'll lose me. There's a great sales phrase that goes, if you confuse them, you lose them. So being able to simplify your user journey helps a lot with user experience. Second point here, very similar to the first one, if there's too many goals or segment or pages or text, or that's overwhelming. Again, I'm not quite sure what I need to do. So another example of what a bad user experience looks like is, it might seem very obvious, but if your website or app has a lot of bugs or errors, that's kind of annoying, right? It feels like we're so spoiled now that we don't even talk about errors or bugs, but it happens a lot more often than you might think. Especially me working as a growth marketing consultant for app-based companies, we see so much friction. Once people have installed the app, registered, and actually using the app, they don't have a post-action after that, and it's because there's errors and bugs that we're not even aware of. So how does user experience actually help you gain and retain customers? Good question. So at a very top line level, let's talk about how we gain customers through user experience or through good user experience. So, first impressions, if they feel like it's a smooth process, that helps them navigate to the next event or action you want them to take. Ease of use, same exact thing. You don't want to alienate your users from the get-go. And then again, we're living in a capitalistic society. We have a competitive advantage. You have an app that's very similar to another app, but then your user experience is a lot better, smoother. I can guarantee that you'll gain more users that way and even retain them. Focusing more on retention. Obviously, if you have really good user experience, there's reduced friction. We actually get them to actually use the app. Second point here on the right-hand side, continuous improvement. And I think that's what it is. I think when you have good user experience, you're helping users continually improve the aspect of them using the app, but at the same time, you're continually improving the app on the other aspect or the back end. So they're kind of supporting each other. And when you're continually improving an app, for the most part, people want to use it more, right? You're retaining those customers because you might be able to hear their feedback for a particular aspect of the app or the website, or maybe a checkout process if it's an e-commerce website. Yeah, when people are being listened to, they'll appreciate you more. So, i.e., you'll retain them more. And the final aspect is, if you're really good at retaining those users, for the most part, it's very likely they'll become brand advocates or product advocates of your brand or your company. They'll start referring you to their friends with their network. So you can see there's an acquisition aspect to retaining customers as well. Just to close off the video, a really great quote here from Alan Cooper. If we want our users to like our software, we should design it to behave like a likable person. Respectful, generous, and most of all, helpful. And that's the end of the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Peace and love, always.